Thank you for coming, everybody. I wanted to say thank you to Dennis Pittman, Jim Tino, and all the folks here at North. They've been very welcoming to all conservatives and have really done a great job to open the doors to hear all ideas. I want to say thank you for doing that. Thank you. I wanted to note, far too long, the American people have heard promises of one thing while being delivered another. Both Democrat and Republican politicians in all levels of government, whether it's at the state, the local, the federal level, or everything in between, more often than not promise one thing, then when elected, deliver something else, quite often the exact opposite of what they promised. What would happen if you guys came here tonight to the Pontiac Country Club and to attend a North meeting and found yourself walking into a Green Party meeting? Would you guys come again next month? If you did come again next month and you walked into another Green Party meeting, would you come a third time? My question to you is, if you were an independent and voted Republican 2 times, and both times still got bigger government and higher taxes, would you continue to vote Republican? Or would you be enticed to vote for the first smooth-talking Democrat who happened to walk along? Or maybe even a third party. But I digress. My question is, what do you think was the popular appeal of Ronald Reagan? Anybody want to give me an idea? Honesty. True, right. He was believable. He was likable enough. But even more important, he was a man of strong convictions. He stood by his word. He said what he meant and he did what he said, no matter how difficult or unpopular it was. He told America, there are no easy answers, but there are simple answers. We must have the courage to do what we know is morally right. Here's another question. Why do you think Ron Paul had such a widespread following? Did he appeal to every internet geek in America? How could he raise $4.2 million in 24 hours on November 5th of 2007 and then shatter his own record by raising $6 million 40 days later? Why did he do that? Because he wasn't afraid to speak the truth. He was straightforward, he was down to earth, and he had convictions. He defended them against all odds. And incidentally, his campaign rhetoric was backed by an exemplary voting record in Congress. Today, too much time and effort is focused on raising money for candidates. While although it's important, it's secondary to finding candidates with not only popular appeal, who would have the strength of character to act on their beliefs no matter what the consequences. With quality candidates, the money will come with much less effort. Find a candidate who will go on record saying, I will do this, and then he does it. We will never find another Ron Reagan, but we must find candidates with the charisma and the character of Ronald Reagan. We must stop focusing on who is merely electable and begin focusing on candidates who believe in the basic Republican principles of smaller government, lower spending, lower taxes, and who will keep their word and keep their promises and vote accordingly once they're elected. Abraham Lincoln once said, character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of a tree, and the tree is the real thing. We need to stop electing shadows and start electing true leaders. For some time now, there's been no consequences for being a Republican and doing non-Republican things and voting in a non-Republican way. The Republican Party refuses to hold its members accountable. So the voters are doing it for us. And you know as well as I that once trust is lost, the road back is long and hard. Isn't it ironic that Obama won on Republican principles? Reduce taxes, protect gun rights, faith, family values, securing our borders. Don't tell me the Republican platform doesn't work. It works. The problem is we don't follow it. The message has become unclear and it's become confusing. Some Republicans have sacrificed the moral high ground in the quest for power, popularity, or reaching across the aisle. So how do we get Republican candidates and elected officials to adhere to traditional Republican values? We must stop being complacent. We must stop saying anyone with an R after their name is good enough, without taking the time to examine that person's character and their integrity. Our supporters deserve better. You and I deserve better. Americans work long and hard to provide for their families. They, like you and I, have to remain within their budgets or face failure. Why shouldn't our government have to do the same thing? As a conservative, I am tired. I am tired of too much talk and not enough action. I belong to a group of staunch, liberty-minded conservatives called the Campaign for Liberty. We all feel as you do. We're all tired. Together, we must push the GOP to adopt a comprehensive platform that delivers a clear message that voters can understand. We must become unified under a platform of common sense, personal choice, liberty and responsibility, limited constitutional government, the right to bear arms, secure borders. We must ask all Republican politicians and candidates to follow it and be clear that we won't support those who do not. We must have accountability, both individually and as a party. And we must always remember, if we don't hold our own accountable, elections have consequences, as we all found out. I hope you will join this group within the Republican Party called the Campaign for Liberty. They're working hard for sensible and responsible change. We realize that if we want things to be different, we have to create the difference. If we want to change, we have to be that change. And if you're waiting for the right time, that time's right now. Allow me to ask a question. Well, let me preface it real quick by asking, could you answer these questions with the confidence of your family or your children's future? If not now, exactly when? If not you, who? Ronald Reagan also said that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We do not pass it on to our children in their bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. As Americans, we must not allow the government to take our freedoms away under any pretext. It must be protected for your children, for my children, she's right over there, and for all of our families, generations to come. I have decided personally that I will do it for the hundreds of thousands of fighting men and women who sacrificed everything on battlefields that were far away from where we're sitting today. I will do it for the mom and pop businesses who work their fingers to the bone to provide for their families and struggle every day just to get by. I will do it for the volunteers who give every single minute of their free time to make sure someone doesn't have to do without, except for them. And I will do it because I love America. God bless America. God bless America. Will you say it with me? God bless America. I will be the difference. I am that change. And the time is right now. Will you join me?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.